Right, good afternoon. Victor Christian here from Christian Guitars. If you don't know who I am, I'll show you. That's me. Right, on the bench today I've got well, a lad I met for quite a few years ago, about 8 years ago, probably more. Down in Foreman's down there in Nottingham. A young lad called Mark Smith. I met him, I think I met him in the toilet. He was laying in his own sick at the time. Not really, that's just a joke. Lad I met in Foreman's, and he were, I think it was when Michelle first come over here, my wife, and we nipped in there and we met him sort of that night, and he's remained a good friend ever since. Lovely lad. For the last 3 years he's been promising me he's going to bring his guitars to me. He never did. Until a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to show you what we've got on, what we're going to be on with today. The main thing I'm going to be doing today is this Crafter. It's a Crafter GAE, which is about right for anyone who was in Foreman's. No, it's a Crafter GAE-15 model in natural. Nice guitar. I used to play a lot of Crafters a few years back, then I moved on to Tanglewoods, which are also good guitars, and now I've got a Yamaha. Lovely construction on these things. They'll be Crafter, it'll be Korean. They make their guitars in Korea. Problem with this is, I highlighted it on my On The Bench video the other week. The EQ preamp is broke. It's not just broke, it's the battery compartment's lost. So I've had to whiz round and find a replacement. This is a Crafter original. I've had to whiz round, try and find a replacement that matches that cut that goes on the sits on this shoulder here. Look, does it go that? Don't go that way. It goes this road. It sits on this shoulder here. Now I found one that doesn't quite match that, but it's very, very close. It's an Artec and it sits on that shoulder, but it doesn't sit quite as the Crafter one does. But luckily, the good thing about it is we've got a good piece of felt underneath, which means if you're off by a millimetre or two, you can always move it bit one way, bit the other, because of this nice big piece of felt underneath. I'm also going to I'm going to take the felt off the old one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this fit. Like I say, it's not going to be perfect, but you know what? I should just be able to get that on there just enough so it'll just cover this hole. Now the problem is this bit here will cover this hole. It'll just cover slightly. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have nothing to screw into. What I'm going to do is I've decided, I've done this before on one of my own guitars a few years back. I'm going to glue in a piece of wood underneath this bit and give me something to work into. These two holes that are going to be left here, I'm going to do my best to fill them. I'm going to fill them with a bit of dowel. I'll re-drill them and I'll fill them with a bit of dowel, I think, and I'll paint them as close as I can to the original. And I'm going to get as close as I can. Now Mark already knows, I've told him it's not going to be perfect, but it's not going to be bad. What we're also going to do here, there's a lot of residue on it. I don't know why, it's from gaffer tape. Mark all over there is. And there. I've got some cleaning fluid that'll get this off. We're going to get that all off. We're also going to do with this. So once I've got that fitted, we're also going to, I'm going to get a good clean and a good setup. So hopefully it'll be done today. If not, you know, who cares? It don't matter. There's no rush for it. This hole again, by the way, it's not quite big enough to accept this preamp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my Dremel out. I'm going to get me, I'm going to measure it all up and I'm going to cut this out with a Dremel. I'm going to cut a bit off at a time. I'm not going to go cutting great chunks out. I know virtually how big I need it to be. It needs to be cut. We're going to want about 5mm off this edge here and about 5mm off the back here. And we're going to fit, I think that's going to work pretty well. We're going to get it pretty close. It's not perfect there, but we're going to get it pretty close. So I'm going to blob on with that this afternoon. That's one of his guitars. He also bought me another guitar. He mentioned he got a Telecaster, which come in also for a setup. Nice guitar. It's one of them Hohner G3 Pro, Hohner Professional. It's not a G3, it's a T3 Custom. These Hohner Professional guitars, they're good guitars. I've had a few through the years. It's a Tele, it's a standard Tele. There you go. It's had, I've got it the proper gubbins. I've got it a complete setup. Polish the frets, get it a good clean. It's a nice guitar, done radius, it's all set up pretty nice, it plays really well, the neck's lovely and straight. there you go, plays beautiful. Nice chunky fat neck on there. I would say that's more or less, it's not quite a C, it's more a D. More a D shape. Nice chunky neck. I love his necks. Really nice guitar. That one's done. I did that more or less as I got it in the shop. So what I'll also do with that, I'll just give that another wipe over, give the body a clean, and we'll make sure that's alright, and it can have this back as well. New strings on this one. Can't remember what gauge they are, maybe about 1046 or something. It's already set up anyway, all the electrics are fine. I've tried it, played it, lovely guitar. So I'm going to blob on with this. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to test the new preamp with the old pickup in there and the old wires in there, the jack and everything, blah blah blah. And what we'll do is we'll keep these, we'll keep this pickup, so this pickup and this jack as spares. Now the preamp I've gone for, by the way, is an Artec. Now Artec are a company out there, they make pickups, they make preamps, whatever. They're based in Korea, which, you know, if it's made in Korea, it's going to be pretty good. Now through the years I've had loads and loads of Korean made guitars, and I swear by them, I think they're absolutely brilliant. Artec are a company that make pickups, and what companies do, especially American companies, your companies like Guitar Heads, is it GFS, Guitar Fetish, Guitar Heads, Dragonfire and all that, all their pickups, they don't make them, Artec make them, and they rebrand them, put their own thing on it. Artec make very good gear. I recommend Artec gear to all my customers. If you don't want to go out and get a Fishman, which I don't rate Fishman preamps by the way, yeah, go out and get a Fishman or something like that. It's going to cost you 950 odd notes. You can get the same Artec. These are about, I think it's about 50-60 quid. If you look around, you can get them a little bit cheaper than that. Better than Fishman in my opinion. I always go for Artec stuff. So that's it. We're going to get that retrofit. Oh, we're going to get that custom fitted. I'm going to do a complete setup on this. I'm going to lower the action. I'm going to take a bit off this saddle here, file it down a little bit. I've found the other black pin that goes in there. We're going to go black pins on it. We're going to get fret polish, get it all cleaned up, get all these marks off. We're going to get it all set up. So I'd imagine I'll get that done today. If not, if we're running tomorrow, it's no big deal. He's in no rush. He'll definitely get back by this weekend. So until I'm ready for cutting chunks out and blah de blah de blah, I'll leave it for now and I'll get back to you shortly. Right, I'm just back briefly with Mark Smith's Crafter here, just to show that I'm just testing the new EQ. I've got it all plugged in into my little Yamaha THR 10X amp over there, just to show it's working. There you go. So, there you go, tried a few of the knobs and buttons there, volume there, notch, does. So we're all working. That is excellent news, because now I can unplug this, blah blah blah, turn the amp off. Right, that is excellent news. Also, while I've been off camera, I've measured this up and I've marked out where I'm going to need to wrap the body, or to cut the body, so I can install the new EQ, and then we're going to cut inside this black line here. So the EQ, we're going to get it to fit. It's going to be absolutely fine. So I'm going to blob on with that now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get my Dremel out with a cutter on there. I'm going to cut the hole so we get this fitted in really nice and snug. Like I've just shown, it's working. So rather than remove the end pin jack that's already installed, and the pickup, the piezo under the bridge there, what's the point of taking them out if they're already in? We'll leave the original ones in, and like I say, we'll use these as spares. We'll send them off, they can go back with the guitar. Chances are that's going to be made by Artec in there anyway. So it's all good. Going to crack on with it. Going to cut some wood out. Going to get it fitted, and we'll see where we are in an hour or so. I'll be back to you. I'll get back to you soon. So back again. Just before I do blob on, I just want to do a quick before and after of the guitar, so you can see where we're at, and now we're going to alter things. So you see, we'll bring it close in a little bit. Okay, a bit of dust, we're not bothered about that. If there's tuner, I think he lost that tuner. I've got a spare anyway, but I found there's one in this case. The action is, well, it's as high as a kite. It's about 4mm on the 12 fret. We're going to sort that out. I'm going to take a couple of mil off the saddle. I'm going to take the saddle out, I'm going to file it down. I'm going to show you the state of the this here. Look, with all this gaffer tape residue on there. We'll get rid of all that, get all that off. I'm going to cut this hole in a minute for the new preamp. That's it. Apart from that, now there's a bit of a scratch here, but apart from that, the guitar, bar being dusted, is in really good condition. Got a bit of dust here, that's no problem. I'm going to whiz these strings off. The strings look relatively in decent shape, so I'll clean them up before I pour them back on. We'll get a bit of oil on there, give them a wipe. The tuners look fine. One of the tuners was not working, it was loose. I've fixed that. I'll check all the tuners. Basically, I'm going to give them an intensive setup on this. I'll check all the tuners, make sure everything's working alright, and I guarantee that this guitar, when you get it back, it can be absolutely pristine. You'll be absolutely amazed by my work. I'm really, you know I'm good at the job. I am very good at the job. That's because I placed all in the Lord's hand. It's the way I do things. I'm a Christian. But that's it. I'm going to blob on with the work now, and I'll get back to you soon. Right, back. That went better than I expected. I've had to cut more wood out. There you go, we'll cut all that out. We'll cut more than that out, it's just one piece of it. I've done it with a Dremel, with a cutter on there, and I've finished off with a good wood file. Now I want to show you how it fits, so bear with me a second. This is the new one. And you can see I've cut the hole, I've cut a rectangle there. It's snug, but it sits in superb. Now the only thing I mentioned before, so I said we're not going to be able to cover these two holes here where the old screws went. But you see we've got a really good fit there. Now these two holes I'm going to plug with a little bit of, I'm going to use a cocktail stick. I'll plug them with a cocktail stick, hammer it through, and what we'll do is we'll snip the ends off and I'll just colour in with a bit of brown, and we can't do any better than that. But I've got this Artec thing fitting really snug. Like I said, what I'm going to do is, because the screws are going to go in deep from here this way, I'm going to drill through for the screws. I'll use a 1mm bit, we'll screw in, and what I'll do is I'll put some extra wood down here, glued underneath. I mean, all being well, these screws are going to come down, they're going to come right down, that's just behind that hole. We're probably going to miss a bit of that wood, we'll get some in. I don't know how good these are going to hold just here, so I'm going to glue a bit of wood behind, give you something extra to go into, and I'm going to bring the camera around now and just show you where I am with this. So bear with me, stay focused on there, and there you go. Considering I didn't think we'd get a good fit on this, you see it's just lifted up a little bit there, but if we press right down here with the felt, we've got a really good fit there. So that's it, so I'm really pleased with how that's gone. Mark is going to be over the moon with this. That looks absolutely brilliant. Like I say, you got these little holes, one there and one there where the old screws went. I'll fill them in best I can. We were always going to leave them exposed because of this not fitting perfectly, but look at that fit there. I'll tell you now. Really pleased with that. So, get the camera back on tripod. And there we are. That's right where we are for now. So I'm really pleased with that fit there. What I'm going to do is now, there's a bit of wood fell in there, I'll get that out. I'm going to glue a little strip of ply back here, a little bit of ply under there, ready, and we're going to drill. Once it's all glued in, we'll get it all clamped up, glued in. It's not going to be today finished now because I've got to glue and clamp, and we'll make a good bed for these new screws to go in. And that's it, it's all going to be good. So, until I get back to you, I'll see you soon.